So we now know that the car, she runs, she starts. However, we did know before we were about to run the car, we noticed that this airflow sensor, the flap inside it, which measures the airflow that goes into the engine, is actually stuck solid. We did manage to move it open enough so airflow could get through into the engine. It sits on there, on the airbox. The filter goes on there, so the air comes through into the filter, through the airflow sensor, and then down into the turbocharger, and then into the engine. So yeah, we knocked it open enough to let air flow through into the engine, so we could actually make it run. However, we do really need to fix that, just because it's a sensor on the car that seems quite important for the air-fuel ratios, so we need to get it sorted. And I'm going to do that by trying to see if we can ease it back open with a hammer and punch, just moving it back and forth, trying to ease it loose so it can open and close more freely, so it can measure the amount of air going into the engine. If not, we'll just have to buy a new one, but we're going to try and keep this as affordable as possible, and yeah, and get it going. So here we are with the airflow sensor here. The flap is actually inside here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get you in there to be able to see it and to properly identify it. Let's get this off. So that's opened up a bit. We do need to keep moving it now back and forth. Spray a load of WD-40 in there, just to try and get it loose. The airflow sensor's now back on and it's opening freely, so it should be now giving the right reading. And I've put the airbox back on. The filter is also in there, so that's all good. I will need to reconnect up this pipe that goes on there and connects up there, but for now that's all right. I now want to move on to this radiator, which, as you can see, the previous owner has done an awful job at making this work. So I'm going to see how much these cost. I'm going to replace this. So another little thing I want to do on this that I've just noticed is, as you can see there's a little tear on the auxiliary or alternator belt that I want to replace, and that I'm going to replace now. We have now got the new belt, which I'm going to install on the car now. I'm not sure what this video is going to be, because there's nothing specific that I'm doing. I reckon it'll just be just like a random bunch of small jobs to do on the car. Okay, there we go. POV cam is on. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Grab the new belt. Here's the old belt. We're gonna chuck that away because we don't need that. Put it in the bin down there. Yeah, still got the ratchet out from last time. Let me grab the torch. Yeah, let's try and get this thing fitted on. Try and fit it down there. Squeeze it by on its side, but yeah, without messing it up. So we'll see. Here it is here. That's it. Try and get it on. That's on there. And then I wasn't able to actually find the exact one for this car. I'm not sure why. I think it's because it's older, maybe, and you just can't get these. I'm not sure. However, this one is pretty much as close as you can. I've been told it's 3 mil shorter in length. However, I don't think that should be any issue at all, considering it's a manually adjusted tensioner. So I should be alright to do this. And it should still fit alright, because 3 mil ain't gonna make much of a difference, surely. So loosen this off as far as we can. Okay, that's as far as it goes. And then loop it around. And get it over this lip of the alternator. It's always a bit difficult. Go on. Might need a screwdriver just to pry that last bit on. Let me get that, hang on. A little screwdriver. It's just this big lip that it needs to get by to fit on properly. Okay, it's near enough on. I'm gonna try turning the actual thing. What size would it be? 17? Yeah, surely. Oh no, it's massive. Okay. Let's try 19. Torch. That's it. Okay. So if we turn this, oh, it's nearly on. It's just got one little tooth, I think, that's probably a bit off, that needs to be fitted on. So it just needs to budge over a bit. If I can use this as well as turning it, this might help. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I've spun that around. So you can see that's in place, and it's really loose now, which is actually good because we can then go ahead. If I get my spanner back, can then go ahead and tighten this back up with the correct socket. But yeah, that's a nice little tip for you. If you're ever struggling to get on a belt like that, you can always do that. And then, yeah, by wedging the screwdriver into the pulley, in between the pulley and the belt, you can then and then when you turn it, you can use it as a thing to pry the belt back on, which is nice and helpful for especially with new belts that are still quite tight. And then tighten this back up, and then we can move on to our next job. You want it to be tensioned, but obviously, but you don't want it to be too tight where there's no movement in the belt, and it won't be able to spin round properly. So having a bit of slack, well, it's not really slack, but having that bit of movement there, as you can see, yeah, it's just, that's sort of what you want to aim for when you're doing that job. And then just double check that the belt's all on, have a feel about, and yeah, that's all good.